that whatever happens, we're probably in for 2 years of constitutional navel-gazing, which will take us, will distract us from many other issues in world politics. It will suck the emotional energy out of Whitehall and Westminster to a large degree. And they're both linked. The future of the Union and the EU are intimately linked now, because if the government is driven, well, if the government now has to have an in-out referendum on the EU in 2017 in unfavourable conditions, and yesterday Mr Schauble indicated that the conditions wouldn't be very favourable, there will be no treaty renewal or no treaty amendments before an in-out referendum, then that referendum could well trigger a new Scottish referendum. The SNP may feel that they have a mandate in the event of a decision to withdraw from the EU to press for an early referendum on independence. So that the nightmare of a disunited kingdom in which the rump UK is out of the EU, I don't necessarily think this is all going to happen, but it is a path down which we could now go and which the government must address. And the idea of it was said in 2010 there will be no strategic shrinkage. Well, we all know that there was. In lots of ways, the Syria vote was only one element of that. It was only one symbol of that. We know that the government was very reticent and in foreign affairs and security policy, and in relation to the Ukraine crisis, in being almost marginalised from EU policy in the later stages of the Ukraine negotiations, in its relations with the Gulf, in our commitment to various issues around the world. I think the last government did less than it said it would do. And so here we are now with as it were, a continuation of that trend, with this big constitutional question hanging over us. And so the issue that academics always talk about will now have to be talked about at Westminster. What sort of UK do we want in the world? That's no longer just an abstract question. What sort of power are we going to be in the world? Because if we continue to regard that merely as an abstract question, we may find ourselves having made involuntarily a series of answers by 2020 that was not necessarily what we thought we were doing in 2015.